Today's adventure invites us into a space where the relationship between trees and other species is a chemical process, where leaves will readily grasp our unwanted carbon dioxide, or where we'll hear stories from trees full of songs and clay rocks full of history. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Audrey Williams, and I'll be taking you outside to see, feel, and fully experience some of the natural beauty of our Pearl of the Antilles. That's right after today's news, so I'll meet you at those sites in just a few.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, December 17, 2021. The Ministry of Health and Wellness will be providing 150,000 COVID-19 self-testing kits to members of the public free of cost. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the announcement at the COVID Conversations press briefing held on Wednesday.
We have taken a critical look at these processes, these tests, these new tests on the market, and we are now in a position to say, with an appropriate level of advice and caution around approach to testing, that we would like to promote or encourage the use of self-administered or home test kits in a particular context and along particular protocols.
While the self-test kits do not have the same level of accuracy as the polymerase chain reaction PCR test, they are considered a useful addition to the tools for containment of the virus's spread. Dr. Tufton says protocols for administering the self-test kits will be placed on the ministry's website.
Persons, if they suspect that they have COVID, should see a doctor for further assessment and not just solely depend on the results of these kits. They should be guided in terms of self-isolation if they think or are concerned about their status.
He says discussions are now taking place between the ministry and 3 entities that have submitted applications for the importation of self-administered kits. In the meantime, the Health Ministry has received an additional supply of personal protective equipment, PPEs, and testing kits from the European Union and the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA. They include 12,500 N95 respirators, 18,750 isolation gowns, and 60 viral RNA test kits. Expressing gratitude for the donation, the State Minister of Health, Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, says the provisions will increase the country's capacity to respond to and manage the outbreak. Come Monday, December 20, members of the public will be able to download their digital COVID-19 vaccination card from the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website. Minister Christopher Tufton says persons will be able to gain access to the digital vaccination cards via a mobile phone or other electronic device.
This will make it easier and more verifiable, less likely to be fraudulent. And I think it's a very good development.
Minister Tufton says the digital card features a quick response QR code that enables the information on it to be validated without violating the right of privacy.
This will now align us to global standards, and so will be accepted by the airlines, accepted by the countries around the world, and you can ultimately download this information on your phone.
Persons will be able to generate a new card on demand, which can also be printed on standard letter-size paper. Fixed vaccination sites will have a team of persons to support the public in the printing of cards. In other news, an e-pay app is now available to train drivers to facilitate payments by students who will be using the school train system at the beginning of the January 2022 term. The ISO and Android-compatible app will allow the railway station master or brakeman to enter their employee number and PIN to scan the QR codes on cards that will be issued to students. The app, which was developed by Norbrook Transaction Services Limited, is to facilitate a cashless transport system that will benefit more than 400 students on state welfare and act as a form of register for students.
We now have a register to say this child went on the train and this child went on the bus. We now have a register, and we can then say to the Ministry of Education, of the 400 children on the program, 390 of them went to school for the 5 days of this week.
Minister Montague was speaking on Tuesday at the official launch of the pilot school train system. The Transport Minister says 120 students will be seated in each coach, with a total of 360 students per trip, in accordance with COVID-19 social distancing requirements. The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, is urging consumers to check the expiry dates of products when shopping this season, particularly food items.
Food safety is serious business this Christmas. There will be lots of offerings on the shelves. We at the CAC, we are encouraging consumers to do your due diligence. If you see items that are packaged together and it might appear that you are unable to see the expiry date, we encourage you, take them apart and look. It is your right to know what it is that you are purchasing.
A Christmas buyer's guide is available to consumers on the CAC website. The Commission is also cautioning citizens to delay posting their status on social media, as this makes them vulnerable at this time of year.
We like to show our status. We like when our friends know that we are at a particular location having fun. Let me encourage you that at this time of the year, just delay sending that location update. Send it tomorrow instead of immediate. You don't want everybody to know that you're at a specific location and that no one's at home.
The CAC reps were speaking at a recent JIS think tank session. And finally, top performers in the 2021 JIS Heritage Competition walked away with exciting and meaningful prizes at an awards ceremony this week. The annual competition, which is in its 11th year, invited students at the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels to submit entries in the essay, poster, and photography categories. These entries were to depict the theme, Triumphant, Proud, and Free. Okija Stevens of Chetwood Memorial Primary School in St. James won first place in the essay competition. In the poster competition, Curtis Clennon of Cornwall College copped first place in the grades 10 to 13 category, while Michaela Brown of Immaculate Conception High took the trophy for the grades 7 to 9 category. In addition to their trophies and cash awards, other prizes included a tablet and weekend for 4 at FDR Resorts for the essay winner, a graphics course at Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts for Curtis Clennon, and $10,000 worth of book vouchers for Michaela Brown. For her first place entry in the photo competition, Micro University's Olivia Gordon won an undergraduate course at the Caribbean School of Media and Communication, CARIMAC, along with a cash award, weekend for 2 at Sandals, and her trophy. Chief Executive Officer of the JIS, Donna Marie Rowe, says the JIS Heritage Competition is not just a corporate social responsibility activity or merely a brand-building exercise, but an opportunity to do more by our young people.
Our young people, we believe that you have a voice, and our Heritage Competition gives you that opportunity to amplify your voice. We are giving you an opportunity to become a part of the discussion. We are allowing you to take a seat at the table.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
COVID still a keep, do a nice thing for your peeps. Check out the JIS Christmas catalog and stand out from the crowd. Get an original holiday card or calendar for your clients, suppliers, partners, and associates at home and abroad. Send an e-card anywhere. Customized cards are also available. Order your affordable holiday package today. Contact the JIS Research and Publications Department. Call 876-926-359024, 876-552-9006, or 876-551-1214. Email printprodassist@jis.gov.jm or visit our website at www.jis.gov.jm.
It won't take you very long to know that you've arrived at 18 degrees north and about 77 degrees west, with the myriad of flowers and trees lining the length and breadth of our island. Of course, some will easily catch your eyes more than others, and some aren't just merely trees, but treasure troves of stories and purposes beyond what some of us may think.
During a stroll down any Jamaican road in the summer, prepare to be stunned by the natural beauty of one of the planet's most beautiful trees. Its flaming red, orange or yellow flower sets it apart from the other flora around. When the wind caresses its umbrella-shaped crown, its pods make an enthralling sound. Oh yes, you've encountered the prismatic poinciana.
It's a very popular tree in Jamaica, and it's been planted for over 100 years.
Delonix regia is a flowering member of the bean family. It's known here in Jamaica as the royal poinciana. Other parts of the Caribbean call it flamboyant, flame of the forest, or flame tree. A native of Madagascar, a country off the coast of the African continent, this striking plant is a feature of many Caribbean landscapes. It is also common in the tropical parts of Asia, the Pacific and Australia, as well as North, Central and South America. The royal poinciana is the official tree of Key West, Florida. It has also been the long-standing national flower of St. Kitts and Nevis. Not surprising then that it would take its name from the man who is believed to have introduced the plant to the region, St. Kitts and Nevis's first French governor, Philippe de Poincy.
It came to us via St. Kitts and was introduced at around the same time that Castleton was formed as a botanical garden. So it got here at the same time with some other legumes, meaning trees that are in the bean family. So it's in the same section of the bean family as, say, thinking toe, which a lot of people know, and logwood.
This evergreen plant grows tall and fast, reaching heights of up to 12 meters in 6 years under favorable conditions. The royal poinciana's trunk can be wide but not overly large, as it produces a light flimsy wood. Its bark is usually smooth and straight, but may extend into several stalks and grows low with regular pruning. The tree's big green buds burst open to reveal large showy pentamerous petals, complete with its fruit protruding through its center. This legume starts out soft, small and green, then ripens into a long, hard wooden brown pod.
The seeds are large, which means that they have enough food stored to just exist in a room at ambient temperature.
The plant grows easily from seeds or cuttings. As a member of the legume family, the leaves of the royal poinciana are compound in nature, comprising of several little leaflets. These fern-like leaves form a dense, unmistakable umbrella-like canopy, a well-needed respite from the hot summer sun.
Because the flowers are so showy and conspicuous, lots of people like to plant it. Over the years, we have had it in many parks, and it has generally reproduced itself in any possible space that it finds suitable.
Though revered for its ornamental quality, the pods of the royal poinciana are also ideal for art and craft. You can make necklaces, bracelets, or art pieces by dabbing it with some paint. You may get a percussion instrument by shaking the pods, or you can make an actual maraca by placing the seeds into a calabash.
There are also studies of the chemical compounds found in the seed, but that's strictly an academic exercise. I gather from some searches that some folks in the Central American area use it medicinally.
If you're interested in brightening up your piece of the rock with this flaming forest flower, then here are some things you may need to know. While incomparable in its beauty, the Royal Poinciana is an insect magnet. It's prone to termite infestation and has its own caterpillar that turns into a moth along its bark. And this tree sheds. So depending on how you view the world, it could be a messy pile of flowers or your own summer snow. Due to its dense shade, the Royal Poinciana may prevent the growth of other trees. Its extensive root system may also pose a threat to your sidewalks.
It's a tree that needs to be tended if you're going to put it in your yard. But it's worth it because in a good year of blooming, it is rather spectacular.
If you're still mesmerized by this statement piece, you may purchase a plant with a color of your choosing from the forestry department.
We are in a race against time, to reverse the effects of climate change by one simple action which has positive and enduring effects. That's right, plant a tree, leave a lasting legacy. Join the My Tree Legacy promotion by planting a tree at your alma mater and share your work with us. Submit videos and pictures of you, your family, your friends, and colleagues planting trees. Every tree counts. Plant a tree today and keep climate change away.
Further in the belly of Jamaica are species of plants and animals that have carved out their own mode of living, our wildlife. As we continue our exploration outside, my one request is for your kindness in preserving some of these species we'll come across. And here are some of the ways that you can do that.
Bow your ears for a bit. Hear the trees wailing or the leaves grabbing your unwanted carbon dioxide, insects making a shrilling sound, and the tuneful noise of some unnamed and rarely seen creature reverberating within the bushes. Now open your eyes a bit wider. Watch ants band together in groups of hundreds, or wasps gathering wood shavings to build their next home, and birds preparing some sweet meal for your liking. All these make up the wildlife, those organisms that grow or live wild in any area.
Wildlife conservation is an attempt to preserve either a species or a population of a particular species, and by doing so, you in effect are also preserving its habitat because the species doesn't exist on its own. And there are different types of conservation. You have what they call in situ conservation, which is conservation within its natural habitat, and that is usually the aim of most, if not all, conservation efforts. And you have ex situ conservation, where you're trying to preserve the animals in a not so natural state, for example, in a zoo or in a controlled park area. And again, the goal is usually when their natural habitat is improved or protected in some way, then they try to repatriate those species back into their natural habitat.
And preserving the wildlife should be an important part of the human agenda. Here's why. It promotes the continuation of native plant species. Small animals like bees, butterflies, and our very own doctor bird play an important role in food production. Conserving these animals, protecting these animals, means that we are ultimately helping in pollination. It increases medicinal value. Plants are a major source of medication, but so too are animals. Take, for example, how research shows that the venom from the cobra can be used as an ingredient in making the medications for leprosy, or how lobsters can be used as antifungals. It's a way to preserve our heritage. Some plants and animals are unique to specific countries, so conserving those wildlife means conserving those traditional aspects of our culture, things like the blue maho plant or the yellow pui tree of Jamaica, and even the lions and leopards of Africa. It enhances food security by protecting natural habitats from degradation and forests against deforestation. The availability of a variety of food products increases.
Everyone needs to play a part. We have to understand that preserving the wildlife, it's not necessarily just for how it can benefit us, but we're also looking at the future generations. And so each person needs to be a little bit more responsible in what they're doing, where they dispose of garbage, cutting off areas and so forth. Understand the law. The Wildlife Protection Act, for example, one basic feature of it is that all native birds are protected. Don't catch the birds. We have hunting season, that is something that is actually regulated. But besides that, we try to encourage persons not to take matters into their own hands at times. Sometimes we have some species that we're trying to protect that are inherently can be a dangerous species, like a crocodile, for example. We encourage persons not to go out and try to catch those animals, but to call NEPA.
Here's your chance to do your part to conserve the wildlife.
Some of our natural resources are also important to our economic landscape, helping to fill our nation's coffers. We now explore the history and ultimate development behind the expansion of one of these natural resources, bauxite.
Bauxite has been a stallion in the economic development of Jamaica from 1952, when the country made its first shipment of the product. Pulled from the womb of our earth, labeled as the rich red soil, though closely resembling a burnt orange or reddish-brown color based on how your eyes see it. This precious mineral is conceived with the continuous fulfilled hope of bringing money, major investments, manpower, and however you put it, massive rewards to our island.
Bauxite is the ore from which the metal aluminum is extracted. Aluminum is a very, very important metal worldwide because of the lightweight and the fact that it doesn't corrode as easily as iron. The first shipment of bauxite was out of Ocho Rios by Reynolds Jamaica Mines in 1952. A year later, Kaiser also began exporting bauxite out of Port Kaiser in St. Elizabeth, and a number of other companies followed after that. Alcan set up their refinery at Kirkvine and were shipping bauxite out of Port Esquivel by 1954. Then the Alcoa plant at Halsall, and the last refinery to be built was Nain, Alpart refinery at Nain.
It was the beginning of the viable mining of the ore, and history tells us how its development filled the coffers of our small island home. or did it?
Jamaica has been an important player in the bauxite industry since the 1950s. We were actually originally the largest producer. The important role of bauxite in our economy is the revenue that the country has earned over the years from the bauxite industry, provide employment. We upgrade the work skills of our people so that we now have a lot of skilled workers in the bauxite industry. And there's a trickle-down effect on the economy because the more employment there is, the more spending power people have. In the 70s, the government began to play a more active role in the bauxite industry. So they began to acquire a piece of the action for the nation's benefit. And a levy was imposed in 1974 from which we benefited financially from production of bauxite. The government began to buy shares into some of these companies. Even though they were not the managing partners, we began to acquire a piece of the action for ourselves. The levy just allowed us to have a bigger piece of the pie.
And while the production of the mineral was still booming, by 1974, the country had taken a small step back to become the second largest producer of bauxite in the world, just behind Australia.
So Australia overtook us just by virtue of scale. It's a huge country with a lot of reserves and good quality reserves, easy to mine. In terms of production, we are ranked 6th in the world now, behind Australia, China, Brazil, India, and Guinea. So our production is in the region of about 10 million tons per year, and we are comparing to Australia that's producing in excess of 80 million tons. We have some challenges that these other countries don't have. For example, we are always mining in populated areas. So our industry has to always be mindful of the local communities and find ways to work with them in order to continue producing bauxite.
But despite that, the commercial mining of bauxite continues to be one of the most important contributors to the economic development of Jamaica, accounting for about 10% of gross domestic product, GDP. In addition to that, the industry represents one of the largest gross earners of foreign exchange for Jamaica.
As long as human beings require resources, they will try to extract it wherever they can. The consumption of aluminum is going up, so I see as long as we have reserves available here, I expect that mining will continue. For at least the next 30 to 40 years, we should have enough reserves to continue at our present capacity.
We want to continue the conversation of turning some of our natural resources into things that can enhance lives and livelihoods. People across the globe continue to use the abundance of natural resources available, whether for survival or just ease of living. In today's Hear This, we'll share a few of our findings with you. Ready? Trees are used to make paper, furniture, and fuel. Cotton is used to make several of the clothes we wear. Bauxite ore turns into aluminum products such as pots, pans, cans, and car parts. Gold is used to make jewelry and some dental material. And my favorite, diamonds are used for jewelry as well as some mechanical equipment. Can you think of any other? If you do, share it with us on our social media pages. How wisely we use what nature has provided will help ensure that Jamaica becomes the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This might have been enough outdoor activities for one day, but if you feel like continuing the journey with us, then more stories like these can be seen on our JIS YouTube channel. There's also much more content on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter pages, and our website, so do stop by. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Audrey Williams. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.